This is my buddy Bowie, and in this video, we're going to go over some tips you can use if you have a dog that's uncomfortable about being outside. Now you see Bowie took a treat for me, sit. He'll sit for me. He's a little fearful. We worked on it, and so now he feels more comfortable with me. But I can get him to do these things inside. If I stay 2 steps outside, he won't be able to do these things. Now, when it comes to dog behavior modification, the analogy I use is it's like getting in a hot tub. When we get in a hot tub, we don't cannonball into the hot tub. We dip our toe, then to our ankles, yes, then to our calf and so on. And so for dogs, we often put them in too advanced of a situation. So I want you to think about this doorway as kind of like his confidence is a wave that's ebbing and flowing towards the door and beyond the door. So right now, inside with the door open, I'm able to tell him to sit or to touch or anything. Touch, whoops, touch, yes, and he'll do it here. So I like to use the sit as an indicator and taking the treats as an indicator. His guardian said that he will not take treats outside. We tried it outside, he just wouldn't take those treats. He will take them. We kind of practiced just a little scratch practice here in a sec, and he was taking them just right immediately outside the door. My goal is to eventually elongate that further and further. So what I'm going to do, and because he doesn't have, we're not sure if he's a door dasher or not, and I can't control what's going on outside the door of an apartment complex, we have a leash here. Always make sure your dog is safe. So I'm going to open it a little bit, give him a treat, and now I'm going to invite him to come a little closer to the door, ask for a sit. Yes. Now, while we're on this subject, I just talked to the guardians if they've used a clicker. I would prefer to use a clicker for this. We're going to use this marker word because we haven't reloaded the clicker, but clickers will work about 20% better. It's a little bit more distinct. So I'm going to lure him a little closer. Sit. Yes. And I'm also using the highest value treats that I have, the Stewart's freeze-dried beef liver, because the other treats we're using, which are very high value treats, he wouldn't take out here. Now, we also want to be set up for success. There was a dog right next door. When I was talking outside loudly, the dog started barking. That caused him to get a little distressed. So now I'm going to move a little bit outside. Sit. The fact that he's sitting tells me he's comfortable. If you want to reposition wherever it's easier for you. So I'm going to put a treat there, just to see if he'll come out and take it. He will. Sit. Yes. So if a dog will do a basic obedience cue like a sit, we know he's comfortable. Put him right there. Sit. So you're seeing that he's sitting, but he's moving back inside. So I want to see if I can get him to sit on this black deal here. Sit. Yes. So now he's taking a treat outside and he's sitting. Now what did he just do there? He just ran away. That's okay. We do a version of this game in our puppy class where we set up a VIP area where the other dogs can't go. Sit, yes, and anytime they feel uncomfortable, they run into that area. Very quickly though, they only run to the edge of the area. They don't have to go in there. See how he's lingering there, which he didn't do before. Bowie, come here, buddy. So again, little sound like that, we heard somebody slam the door. We normally like, not a big deal. Bowie's like, I'm running between my guardian's legs to get away from that. Bowie, come here. Bowie! I know it was a scary sound outside, but that's what we're here for. Now, while I'm luring Bowie over, Bowie, come here, buddy. While I'm luring Bowie over, I did talk to the guardians about possibly putting him on medication like fluoxetine. I think it's gonna be helpful for him. And there we go. Bowie, there's another one. Sit. So he's telling me by his reluctance to sit that that's too far away, but he sat right there. So he's saying this is where I feel comfortable enough. I look at a sit, when I'm looking at dogs to equate how comfortable they are, how many moves does it take for them to go into a run? If he's standing, that's 0 moves. He starts running immediately. 1 move, sitting. Laying down is 2 moves. Laying down side saddle, 3 moves. So if I ask the dog to sit and he won't sit, I'm going to move him about 5 feet away from whatever I perceive him to be fearful of and ask for a sit again. If he doesn't, I move 5 feet away. I keep doing that until he'll sit. And so that's my way of identifying and finding out how comfortable and where it's at. Training is not a linear process, so we're going to have ebbs and flows. And so right here, I'm offering him a little bit of incentive to come on outside, and he's eating treats while he's outside. Let's see if I can get a sit here. Sit. Yes. So now we're about half a foot outside and he's sitting. Now the guardians here have been really doing a great job. They've been working on it. and they've worked with a number of trainers, and I think like a lot of people, they're frustrated because we want fast progress. Everybody does. So that is what we just saw here is progress, because normally he won't take any treats outside your door, correct?
Correct.
So what we're gonna see is the ebb of confidence is gonna ebb out a little bit here and then come back like we just saw. Eventually we'll be able to get him to take treats here, 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 and here. But if there's something going on outside, this dog starts barking, somebody slams the door and he goes away and runs inside, let him, wait for him to relax, then come back to doing this again. We're not gonna force him to do it. If he doesn't wanna do it, we're gonna listen to his cutoff signals so that he doesn't feel like he has to run away from anything. Now that's one of the not as good treats, but he doesn't know it yet. This is something else I want to talk about is this looks like he's not doing very much. If you've ever ridden a roller coaster, you're not doing very much on a roller coaster. You're kind of sitting on your rear end, but you're burning a lot of calories due to the intensity of the experience. We've been doing a long behavior session. He hasn't done a lot, but it's been have somebody in his house. There we go. So now he's comfortable. He got a little bit of a love from his affection from his guardian, and so he came over to investigate. Now these are the treats that are not as high a value. They're very high value treats, but with the door open and me being outside and him knowing I'm trying to lure him outside the door, not so much. Now real quick, this has a pattern on it. Dog's eyes are not very good for detail, so I flipped it over and I would have it as a nice ramp. Now sometimes when I do treats, I'll do like 1 here, 2 here, 3 here, 4 here. So the closer they get to the harder thing, the bigger the reward becomes. For him, he's only interested in doing this with the Stewart's freeze-dried beef liver. That's okay. Try to not use that treat unless you have to. You want to use the smallest value treat and the lowest value treat you can get away with. So what I'd like you to do, I'm trying to figure out how many times a day. He's fairly fearful. Once the Prozac kicks in, you probably do this a little bit more frequently. But I like to see you guys doing this 2 to 4 times a day when it's nice and quiet outside. And again, exercising him a little bit, not a lot, a little bit inside, and making sure that you're in a nice centered and calm and balanced frame of mind. If you're worried about a project at work, he's gonna feel that tension, and we already have enough stuff going on here. We're gonna practice this off camera here in a sec with the Guardians doing this, and they should have a better result than me. But what we're looking for is progress. Keep a journal of how many steps, how far outside, 3 steps, 5 steps. Eventually you get further and further away, and maybe he'll just sit out here and look at the butterflies or whatever it is, but we're helping him practice being calm in an environment that is not relaxing for him now, very progressively, very gradually. So it's gonna take some progress. And eventually you're gonna be able to do this when there are people slamming doors and dogs barking and all those fun things. And I would use some of those treats every once in a while as well, treats that are pretty high value that he'll like. And if he could do that out here with one of those, we're making a lot of progress. Now again, this is one of those things where when it comes to behavior modification, people get frustrated because they're just like, dude, I'm just taking the dog outside and giving him treats. But that is progress, and that taking of the treat is an indication his emotional response is feeling much more relaxed. So when you're doing this, try to keep this short, maybe 1 to 2 minute maximum practice sessions. Then afterwards, if you can, pair it conclusion with something he really likes. Sit down and rub his belly for 2 minutes. So he's like, did the hard, scary stuff, and then mom gave me the best tender touches on my belly, and I love her so much. She does such a great job. And so we're making that, okay, I'll do this because I get something else. Now, if you get to the point where you're doing this 4 times a day and he doesn't even want to come out here, we might be doing too much. So we want to do small portions that are successful. He needs the whole experience in order for socialization. This is version of socialization. In order to work, it has to be enjoyable for him. So if you feel like he's feeling comfortable or you feel like you hear somebody's coming, stop early. And we always want to end on a successful note, always want the dog wanting a little bit more. Let's see, you want to pick him up and see if you can put him down over here? I'm going to grab some treats. We'll keep rolling.
Yep.
Hey, buddy. Would you like a couple treats? Here, there's the good stuff. And so again, we want to end on a positive. So, and if he won't come all the way out here, him even just coming here and then running away is progress. Eventually, it'll be easier for him to come here. You might see him lingering. Then he'll gradually come 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. Bowie. Well, this is my buddy Bowie, and these are some tips you can use if you have a dog that's fearful of going outside.